morning for all you people watching this channel on the Ubers. It's Old Soldier coming at you this morning from Robeson County, North Carolina. As you can see, because of the stupid time change, it's now dark outside again. I don't like daylight savings time, folks. Just keep farmers' hours, not bankers' hours. Be a whole lot better off, I think. Anyway, folks, hope everybody's doing all right on this fantabulous Tuesday morning. Thanks again to everybody that showed up last night on the live show. Coming out in the comments section, we had some great conversations last night. Certainly and truly appreciate it. Thank y'all again so very much. I really do appreciate it. All your support. On a serious note, I'm going to post a link below. And I get this via Warsaw Patriot and the Crazy Scotsman, member of the community, had their son attacked and killed by a bunch of thugs. And they got one in custody, but apparently the family needs help with funeral costs. I'm going to post the link below. If you can help out, please help out. It's a tragic incident. I'll also post a link to the Crazy Scotsman's video on it. He's got more of the details because my CRS is in effect this morning. I watched the video. Just right now recalling the names and whatnot is just escaping me, but I will be posting that below. And pray for that family. No family should have to go through something like that. Sadly, it happens. In other news, the president's supposed to address Congress today, or the Republican side of Congress today, about how to stabilize the stock market, because all the media's bullcrap with the coronavirus causing the stock market to fluctuate. Now I'm blaming the media for it. The fact, the influence they have, and the issues that they have caused with this. But anyway, I think there was another reported case here in North Carolina. And it's sad to say, it's only a matter of time before this thing does take off and spread, but to listen to Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, it's a pandemic. Just tone down the rhetoric here, people. Is it something that needs to be taken serious? Of course. Won't take that away. But to sow seeds of panic when they're really not necessary is just uncalled for, in my opinion. But anyway, folks, I hope everybody's having a good start to their Tuesday. As we plug along through this day. It's kind of looks like it's going to rain here today. Take it as a blessing from God, but then again, I got to ask, how much more rain do we need in North Carolina right now? Because the ground here is still pretty saturated. The farmer has not been out to till the field or plant anything yet. Then again, I'm not sure what he's planting this year, so I'm not sure when he's when you have to put certain things in the ground. So, only time will tell there. But yeah, I think we're still going to get one more bout of cold weather here, though, according to the Farmer's Almanac. Maybe even two. But we shall see, we shall see. I guess another round of primaries open today in other states. We'll see how that goes. Apparently the Bernie Sanders campaign is ramping up to take on the Biden campaign by the horns. We'll see how that goes. I was really shocked when Kamala Harris come out and actually backed Joe Biden. That one was a shocker. I'm going to say I didn't expect her to support Bernie Sanders, but to actually come out and endorse Joe Biden, that one was unforeseen. As much grief as she gave him on the campaign trail, to then come around and turn around and endorse him as the party's candidate. So again, another instance of where the party is getting the candidate they want and not the candidate maybe the people want. Think about that for a minute. They let Bernie run last time as token opposition to Hillary to make it seem like there was competition. There was a third person in that campaign last election. I don't even remember who that was. It didn't last long. But the whole scheme of it was to make Hillary's campaign look legitimate. But the thing was, Bernie did better than they thought he was going to do, and that shocked everybody. And apparently, this go around, he thinks he can do well. So, in the scheme of things, with what the number of people he got backing him so far on the Democrat side, yeah. I'm not going to say I'm not unimpressed. It's just a bit scary that number of Americans want a socialist government in this country. And of course, they always tout the benefits of socialism based on certain countries in Europe, but those countries have socialist policies but are capitalist nations, and that's what they fail to distinguish the difference. True socialism is like that of Cuba. You go to the little island in the Caribbean and you go and look at how people are living, and you go and look at the fact that there's hardly any food on the shelves half the time, that people are waiting an hour to 2 hours daily to get gas in their car because gas, quite honestly, is not all that readily available as it is made out. Go figure. I mean, at least China, and I'm not touting the benefits of communism by no means, China at least saw that a capitalist economy was good for national growth. They finally have come around to that. That's why China is an economic powerhouse in the world today. But the government's still communist, okay? And if the government decides at a snap of a finger that you're no longer important to the party, you're done. You're milquetoast, okay? But it has allowed for a growing middle class in China, something that 30, 40 years ago was unheard of. The problem with China now is the fact that you've got people that want more rights than what the Communist Party allows. And they're also going through growing pains with Hong Kong. We've kind of put that one off the back burner, but Hong Kong's still trying to fight back under the oppression of communism. And realize Hong Kong was a free city, if you will, up until 1999 under a treaty that Great Britain was to turn Hong Kong back over to China, in which they did. We were watching on TV. It was a real fancy to do ceremony. The British Army relinquishing control of Hong Kong to China. But during its tenure as a British protectorate, Hong Kong became a major economic trading powerhouse, if you will. And in other words, if you wanted to do any trading in the Pacific or in Asia, all your business deals kind of went through Hong Kong per se. All the corporates were there, that kind of thing is what I'm getting at. And there was fear when the communist powers were going to come in and take over. Initially, there wasn't much to do, but now we're starting to see that you've got a crowd of people that they're starting to feel what it is to be oppressed by the communist policies, and they don't like it. They don't like the restriction of their freedoms. They don't like the fact that they cannot speak out the way that they ought to be allowed to, for fear of retribution from a tyrannical government. Regardless of their economic policies, regardless of what China allows them to do economically, at the end of the day, if you don't like a policy and you speak out, the state will come in and shut you down. The state will come in and take your business over. That, folks, is the socialism that we don't, that Bernie Sanders won't talk about. They refuse to talk about it. They'll sit there and tell you that, well, no, that's because it's been done wrong all these years. Show me who's done it right. Nobody. The difference, though, is there people are forced to live under that way of living. Here, if you want to go live socialist, you can go buy a piece of property and build a commune, and everybody comes there and sings Kumbaya and shares in the daily chores. But even in those instances, let's take a long, hard look at that for a minute. Even in those instances where people have done that, there still develops a power class. What I mean by that? Someone always has to be at the head of the table. Someone has always got to be at the top of the pyramid. Somebody's always got to be in control other than the masses. Wait a minute, it's right. You are forced to bow to the will of somebody else who may or may not have your best interests at heart, who may only be interested in the power that they themselves gain for themselves, and guise it in the pretty sounding, everybody gets everything equally and shared. Well, why do you get to sleep in a house with heating and air conditioning, and we're down here in a shack with a wood burning stove and windows that have no screens, and that's our air conditioning? Well, I have to have more comfort in order to think and lead. Oh, okay, yeah. You see where I'm going? Even here in this nation where people do these things, they buy their property, they establish. Eventually, like I said, a power class develops. Okay, a power struggle takes place. Charlie Kirk mentions the Amish and how they do it. They probably are the closest to any measured success on it, in that regard. But even in that society, there are those that are in power and those that are workers. I'm not saying that everybody's got to be everybody can be workers and not somebody not be in charge. Somebody's got to be in charge. Somebody has to give guidance and direction. I get that. But in a true socialist utopian society, no one person is supposed to be above anybody else, and no one person is to have any more than anyone else. But the one thing they always take completely out of the equation is human nature. Inherently, human nature will lead to greed and envy and jealousy and the want for control and or power. Whether it's because you want to control everybody else to conform to how you think they ought to live, or the fact that you want to have power and dominion over others and exercise that. At least in a Republican society, you have the right to vote periodically and replace those leaders from time to time. So, anyway. But some people you just can't convince, I guess, otherwise. And I mentioned Charlie Kirk. I've been watching a lot of his Turning Point USA stuff. Smart young man, very smart. He shut one guy down real quick, real fast about socialism, and he said, "Well, you got an iPhone, don't you?" The kid's like, "Yeah, I do." He says, "Well, you're contributing to the oppression of the workers then." Well, and he finally, and Charlie Kirk, I've watched enough his videos to say that he's straightforward. He's just a well-educated young man that knows how to articulate himself, especially in a debate type society situation. He can recall those facts right off the top of his head, and he pushes back as hard as they push on him. There was one that the guy was talking to him about the risk the worker takes versus the owner or the entrepreneur, and I never really thought fully about this, and it kind of opened my eyes, but it made more sense. But that business owner does take an enormous risk. It was about capitalism and capital, and quickly educated young person on the fact that capital is money, it's investment. And that person that opens a business takes a significant risk with the capital and does, in a sense, stand to lose more than the worker who makes it. He gave the analogy of a pencil factory. That's what it was. The guy was trying to say, without the workers, your pencils don't get made. Well, and Charlie kind of argued back, well, without the owner going out and getting the money to build the plant, to buy the machineries, which in turn is supporting another business, because that business has to have somebody to build the machines. But even then, the person that owns the business that builds the machines still had to go and get money to get the materials to build the machines with from another source. At the end of the day, the owners are taking a substantial risk, because if their business fails, they lose all that money and become indebted to their creditors, whereas the workers are just out of a job. I thought, well, that is a valid point, and it makes the point that big companies that have successful people in business, people that have the entrepreneur vision to do it, they do take quite the substantial financial risk. I won't argue that. It's not to say that there's certain business owners that are there's some that do things illegally to get to where they're at. There's some that would just as soon have labor free as opposed to pay for it. But that's human nature, once again, where greed and power come into play. But the majority of business owners are in it to make a profit. And they understand, though, in order to make a profit, they have to have employees that can do the job. In order to do that, you have to pay them for what they're worth. And that was the other part of Charlie Kirk's argument, is that a person that's sweeping the floors in a factory is not going to get paid the same as a person that's making the pencil. Why? Skill set. The person that's making the pencil might have more skills than the person pushing the broom. But in certain aspects of socialism, everybody in the planet ought to be paid the same. Well, no. Then what's the incentive of going to work in that factory if the guy pushing the broom is going to make as much as me, and I'm the guy that's putting everything together, or I'm the person that is marketing it to get it sold? So, and the whole point behind that was that he was trying to make, I think, is that you can choose to be the broom pusher, or you can choose to be the person that puts it together or markets it, or whatever the case may be. In other words, You can choose where on the pay scale you're going to be in this nation under a capitalist free market society. And if your head's spinning, I apologize for that. But anyway, I just thought I'd share all that with you this morning. But we're going to bring this one to a close this morning. I hope everybody has a great Tuesday. Charities I'd ask you to help out with: TunnelsToTowers.org, Folds of Honor, Ballot for Veterans, Pin Up for Vets. You can't do it by themselves. Anything you can do to help them would be greatly appreciated. Likewise, businesses: Money Quick Palm, Rayford Road, Fayetteville, North Carolina; Robert's Custom Woodwork, Unsung Patriot; Black Bag Resources, Black Rifle Coffee. Check them all out. Likewise, if you haven't got my books yet and you still want a copy, they're available on Amazon. Check out my t-shirt, link down below, my Teespring site. All that's down below in the description. And don't forget, folks, the family in need for funeral expenses. Again, I'm going to post those links below today, too. If you can help out, it'd be greatly appreciated. But with that being said, until tomorrow, God bless, take care. Old Soldier out.